Hello, everybody. We are live. It is Sunday morning. I am your host, Dan Buffa, in the buff. And I want to ask a similar question to the Cardinals as the trade deadline sits 2 days away. 2 days. That's like in today's time, that can fly by in 2 minutes. Tuesday, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. Central. What are you prepared to do, Cardinals? Are you going to get a pitcher? Are you going to just clear the roster? Are you going to get a JoJo Romero who's going to come in and be a left-handed reliever, but you're not going to do anything for your starting rotation? And really, your offense doesn't need too much, but Cardinals are 4 games back of the Brewers, and yes, we are going to talk some baseball. But before we get into that, let's discuss what will be thrown out there. We're going to talk about the trade deadline and about Juan Soto, but also about maybe somebody else the Cardinals can get if they want to help the rotation, since Juan Soto doesn't pitch. Last time I checked his IMDb, his baseball reference. If Juan Soto ever wants to act, I can see it. But we'll review a movie at the end that I think if you aren't interested in Cardinal baseball and you're just like, fuck this shit, man, I'm done watching these baseball guys for a week, then we'll have it. So let's get into it because time is of the essence and time can be described as money. It is Sunday. The Cardinals are 53 and 48. They are 4 games back of the Brewers, and they have two of the best players in the game on their team. And the biggest conundrum with the Cardinals is how many more games and seasons are you going to waste with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt at your service? Because it'd be one thing if this was like the 90s, the early 90s, and the Cardinals were just they're 500 team, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit below, but they have a roster of studs. And yes, they have some situations that are a little bit, debatable, like their catching situation, the shortstop situation. Paul DeYoung's back, and he had a home run last night in Washington, so now he's going to have a week's worth of starts, which is not a bad idea because you're paying the guy. He's got a contract, and if he kind of shows a little bit of, you know, oomph in the next day or two, maybe he gets sent out as part of the deal. But time is definitely running out if you're a Cardinals fan. And if you're a fan wanting to know if this team is just going to be merely competitive or if they are going to do something to alter the race. Because if they stay the way they are, this is how they see it. And this is what the front office knows. They're not going to win anything. They're going to sneak into the wild card at best. And they're going to get knocked out in the first round. Because if you can't pitch, you're not winning anything. You're just not, unless you get Juan Soto. And then you can just outslug the other opponent because that's not helping. The Cardinals are scoring runs. I mean, if you look at last night's game, the Cardinals scored 6 runs. Most of the time, that's good enough to win the game. They've scored a lot of runs since the All-Star break has kicked off. This isn't like in June, late June and early July, where it seems like a team couldn't score. They were getting shut out, but this is not that team. They're scoring, even with Tyler O'Neill coming back and then leaving the game injured. And then Dylan Carlson's there. Harrison Bader's still not back. And Lars Nootbaar is hitting home runs. So they're getting performances from their starters. But if anything's really going, we need something, it's the rotation. And so if you don't want to look at Soto and Frankie Montas from Oakland is just a little bit too much. He's got shoulder issues. It could be a right-handed Mark Mulder situation all over again. We're wondering if he's going to make the next few starts. How about Noah Syndergaard? Yeah, he's not the stud that he was with the Mets. He's kind of post Tommy John Noah, Thor, as they call him. But he's wasting away out there in LA with the Angels. And he has a big contract. He has a big 1-year contract. This is like the lesser strings than a Juan Soto acquisition or a Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas has 1 year before he reaches free agency. Soto reaches free agency in 2025. Syndergaard is a guy that's in this, that is only, and this is when I looked it up with Noah. He's 29. He's going to be 30 very soon, but he's 29. So you have a guy who isn't going to cost you a lot, could probably give you some good innings. He can't be a 1 or a 2. He could probably be a really good 3 in this rotation at least, maybe even a good number 2. You need somebody after Michaelis because Wainwright and Michaelis, your 2 starters at the top of the rotation, are just bangers right now. Even when they're off, I mean, for the most part in the season, they're doing their job, and the team is finally scoring for them. But elsewhere, they just can't get innings, and their bullpen is well put together, but they're going to be fried by the time September gets here. So, as great as the Juan Soto, and we've heard it all, generational talent. I just think about what if Mike Ehrmantraut was looking, well, John Mozeliak, you got a generational talent, Walter. Uh, and then John would go, well, I haven't watched Better Call Saul yet, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple thing. The Cardinals have to upgrade something. You don't have to get the big guy. Soto's like the Hulk of this deadline, and the Cardinals are the one team in the talks. And I think Ken Rosenthal, who just put it great, he's like, the Cardinals are going to have to get uncomfortable. As I notice, you can't see my face. What is he talking to? Ken Rosenthal put it best. He said the Cardinals are going to have to get uncomfortable. Because when you're giving up prospects, it is. Because you're kind of trading control players for one guy usually. But think about it this way as we hit 6 minutes and 15 seconds, and I'm keeping this one short. This is a morning blast of Cardinal anger as they drop a game to the 34 and I think 57 or 58. Maybe they're 35 wins now, Nationals, shortly after losing a series to the lowly Reds. If you keep losing games to these teams, then your soft schedule doesn't mean shit, and you're just wasting time. And you were once tied with the Brewers. You were a game behind, 2 games, a half a game, and now they're 4 games. So to put it that way, they have to have a great series or two, and the Brewers have to have a very bad series or two because they're not even qualifying for the wild card. 3 teams make it in. I mean, they make it easier. No wonder Mozeliak and DeWitt wanted this thing to be easier. Oh, so we can get in the playoffs and it'll be nice and easy. Oh man, we can be competitive. They're wasting time. As I've told them for the last year or two, finish the painting. Finish the painting means get a couple pitchers. Give this team a chance. It's not about the nostalgia tour. Molina's been gone for almost 2 months. Pujols is a part-time player. Wainwright has not said whether he's coming back or not. I would put the chips on he's going to come back, especially if they got a guy like Juan Soto or if they equip the team. Because I do think the Cardinals, they'd be wise to not let him pitch for another team, especially if he's still productive. At the very worst right now, Wainwright, 40, turning 41 soon, he's still at least a 3 or 4 in a rotation at worst. So Cardinals, what are you prepared to do? As Sean Connery screamed at Kevin Costner in The Untouchables, spitting fake blood at him. What are you prepared to do? And if I was the Cardinals, I would be prepared to get some pitching. Because at a certain point, you're going to have to say, hey, Mr. Soto, it's not worth it. We're wasting time. We're drowning. And another season is going to be gone. And Colton Wong and the Brewers, yeah, that guy that you just didn't want to sign. And then you got Nolan Gorman to play second, even though he probably won't play second for a long time. And you have Edman, who hit his midseason swoon. And then you got DeYoung coming back. You traded off Edmundo Sosa, which was a good idea. But the Brewers are still above you. What are you prepared to do? It doesn't have to be Soto or nothing. It has to be something and something good. Let's not go, well, we got John Lester off of his farm, or J.A. Happ, away from his family. These guys are going to do it again. It's the multiverse of Cardinal baseball. We'll pull out their great years from 7 years ago. Go get Noah Syndergaard. Maybe pick up another pitcher. Maybe fortify your bullpen. The bats, if you look at the rankings, are in the top 10, are right outside the top 10 in slugging, in OPS, in batting average, in home runs. This team can hit. They just can't pitch. So Cardinals, by the time I get back on here tomorrow, I want to see some action. I want to see some Thor action. Thor, Love, and Thunder is out. We need Love, Thunder, and fucking innings. That is it. In the buff, mini burst. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. Tell somebody you don't like. Tell your mom. Okay. She may not want to look at this for more than 10 minutes, but I just kept this under. Episode 2 in the wraps. Come back for episode 3, where we could talk about more Cardinals because it's the summer, baby, in St. Louis, and that means humidity, hot weather, and nerve-wracking baseball.